What has happened, Monsieur Poirot?
Murder, mademoiselle, of the most savage nature. I have ordered all of the train doors to the outside to be sealed, with the exception of the rear door of the Athens-Paris coach, so that the engineer and fireman of the train may keep the engine's boiler provided with the coal. It would become very cold in here otherwise without the steam heat. The attendant...
His name is Matteo, I believe.
Matteo will inform us immediately if anyone else attempts to depart the train. Fortunately, the only passenger in the Athens-Paris coach is Dr. Constantine here. He has examined the body. Doctor, Mademoiselle Marceau represents the owners of this train. You may speak freely.
Oh, no! Who has been killed?
Monsieur Ratchet. So what shall we do, mademoiselle?
Monsieur Poirot, I appeal to you. We cannot wait for the Yugoslavian police.
They will detain us all for weeks while they trample evidence and bluster about with no idea how to solve a murder. Ah, if only we were in Greece.
Take command of the investigation.
Oh, must I?
We both know the longer a crime goes uninvestigated, the more difficult it becomes to solve.
Ah, yes, of course, I remember. You are the student of crime. And what you say is very true. All the same.
You can be on your way to your important case in England. We can avoid delays, annoyances, and 1,000,001 inconveniences for all the passengers.
I am addressing an important medical conference in London in 2 days.
Oui, c'est vrai. Any additional delay would be difficult.
Monsieur Poirot, my job isn't much, but it's all I have. The avalanche, your injury, now a murder. If it isn't solved, I will lose my job.
No, you cannot be blamed. I will have a word with Marcel. You have my guarantee that he will not fire you.
Solve the mystery. All we need say when the police arrive is, here is the murderer.
Mademoiselle, use your own powers of observation. Alors Poirot, he is confined to bed in the most serious of pain. How can he take command of anything?
In my scrapbook, I have a quote from you. How does it go? To solve a case, a man has only to sit back in a chair and think. Use the little gray cells of your mind.
I have often used the murderer's own words to spring my trap. And now I am caught by my own. Well done. Eh bien, mademoiselle, I will do what I can. I ask only that you do my legwork. This would appeal to you, I think.
You know it would.
I will issue to you the challenge I once made to my friend Captain Hastings. Accept, and we will play a little game between ourselves. You will need to use your own little gray cells as much as Poirot. And in the end, we will see if the student of crime is ready to graduate. Refuse? I will guide your investigations much more. Either way, the crime, it will be solved. It is an important decision you must make now before we proceed. I will not ask again. Do you accept?
I am honored. I gladly accept the challenge.
Excellent. Now, if you reach an impasse, think only, what would Poirot do? Imagine that I am there beside you, offering counsel. It may help. So, we begin. Dr. Constantine, take her next door.
Oh dear! Someone must have stood there and stabbed him again and again.
There is something in the pocket of his pajamas. Something...
Egg!
115. That agrees with my calculations.
Has anything been disarranged in this compartment?
No, mademoiselle. I was careful not to move the body in making my examination.
Quite interesting. The good detective knows even the most useful tools have the proper time and place.
I did not close the window despite the chill. I thought there might be fingerprints, and the cold, of course, helps preserve the body.
How many wounds are there, Doctor?
I make it 12 wounds. 1 or 2 are so slight as to be mere scratches. On the other hand, at least 3 would be capable of causing death.
Some wounds seem to have bled more than others.
You see these 2 wounds, here and here. They are deep. Each cut must have severed blood vessels, and yet the edges do not gape. They have not bled as one would have expected.
Ratchet was already dead when those were delivered?
Some little time dead.
The murderer returned to make certain Ratchet was dead?
The idea is an absurdity, of course. Even one with no medical knowledge would have been able to tell the man was already quite dead.
The wounds are scattered all over the torso.
Yes, and you see this wound here, under the right arm, near the right shoulder. Could you deliver such a blow? I have a pencil if you would like to try it.
That won't be necessary.
How do you account for it?
The murderer had unusually long arms.
Please let us not stray into the land of Poe with his murderous apes stuffing young girls up chimneys. I know something of apes. They kill by pummeling or crushing, not whittling away at their victim.
Ratchet thrashed about as he was dying.
On the contrary, he lay completely composed. The bedsheets are not disarrayed at all.
A left-handed murderer could strike there easily.
But of course, that blow was almost certainly struck with the left hand. Yet some of these blows are just as obviously right-handed.
Tell me something about the force of the blows.
Some were struck with a terrible ferocity as to drive the knife through hard belts of bone and muscle. Yet others seem to be haphazard and at random, glancing off, doing hardly any damage.
Someone striking with their eyes shut? In a blind frenzy?
And struck so many times with their eyes closed to make sure they had managed to hit a vital organ or two?
Perhaps the killer was uncertain at first, then was overcome with a bloodlust.
Or perhaps the killer tired of his exertions, weakening, yet still enjoying himself too much to leave off.
Could there be 2 murderers?
Perhaps. Some blows could have been struck by a strong man or very athletic woman. Others are weak. A frail woman, perhaps.
Can you estimate the time of death?
It is difficult to say exactly in these matters. The open window, the cold, you understand, complicates an estimate. But I think I can say definitely that death occurred between midnight and 2 in the morning.
That will do for now, Doctor.
Regardez, mademoiselle.
I've already said I won't find anything else in there.
There is something in the pocket.
I should keep my immediate goal in mind. It lies elsewhere. I won't find anything.
I confess that your logic, it escapes me. I am sorry, mademoiselle, but I do not believe using that object will help.
The man was armed? It is bizarre. Why did he not defend himself?
Doctor,
Yes, Mademoiselle Marceau?
I'm going to update Monsieur Poirot on my progress. Will you make sure the scene of the crime remains undisturbed?
Certainly. I will remain vigilant.
Thank you. Monsieur Poirot,
The object is already dead when those were delivered. The murderer was trying to make certain Ratchet was dead. The murderer had unusually long arms. Ratchet thrashed about as he was dying, and the left-handed murderer could easily strike her, someone striking with their eyes shut in a blind frenzy. The hospital was unfortunate for them, overcome with a bloodlust. Could there be two murderers?
and that is everything I've discovered so far.
We progress, mademoiselle. Now, let us see what we can learn.
The wounds tell too many different stories.
Oui, the matter begins to clear itself up wonderfully. The murderer was a man of great strength. He was feeble, it was a woman, it was a right-handed person, it was a left-handed person. Ah, c'est rigolo tout ça. And the victim, what does he do in all this? Does he cry out? Does he struggle? Does he defend himself? No. He awaits his doom with the greatest composure.
The box of matches suggests the round one belonged to Monsieur Ratchet.
I concur.
The pipe cleaner and the handkerchief are good clues.
Possibly. What can we learn from them?
Remember the bottle I found in the suitcase?
Oui, a sleeping draught, and the bottle half empty. It would be instructive to learn if Ratchet took his usual dosage last night.
What of the residue in the tumbler? A sleeping powder, perhaps, such as that I found in the suitcase. It might explain why Monsieur Ratchet did not cry out when he was attacked.
A possibility. However, in my experience, the usual dose of a sleeping draught would not be strong enough to prevent awakening if one were violently attacked.
The gun was unfired.
He would certainly have defended himself if he had been able. For now, it might be better if you keep the gun with you for your protection. I would not like our collaboration cut short prematurely.
The broken watch tells us the time of death exactly.
Very convenient, the broken watches.
1:15, well within Dr. Constantine's estimate of midnight to 2 a.m.
What you say is true.
Are the false teeth important?
Only to one who must wear them. And why you took for yourself the false teeth of the dead man is not for Poirot to ask. But I hope they prove themselves as useful to you as they undoubtedly did to him.
The small metal statuette. It is very old.
And possibly quite valuable. Take it with you. Learn more of it if you can.
The footprints outside the window are important.
What did they say to you?
The killer may have fled the train.
And gone where? Still, they must be investigated.
I found the inscription REV 1318 printed on the hatband of his hat.
A curious inscription indeed for the hat.
I found only the cigar in the ashtray. No pipe.
Certainly, this is a clue masculine. Monsieur Ratchet smokes the cigar, lighting it with a round match, and someone else, still to be determined, smokes the pipe, lighting it with a flat match.
The letter H can help us find the owner of the handkerchief.
A clue feminine, so dainty. And to have the letter embroidered upon it is so convenient. One cannot complain of having no clues in this case.
If a man killed Ratchet,
After the sociable smoke,
then the woman came in later, not noticing he was dead, and attacked him as well.
also not noticing that she had dropped her handkerchief. Very fortunate for us that she was so unobservant.
The burnt paper could be significant.
What strikes you as most important?
What was burnt and why?
Précisément.
But the paper is impossible to read.
It is possible that some of the writing on the paper can be made legible again if the scrap can be protected, flattened, and held firmly in place while the heat is applied. I will need something with which to handle the paper most delicately, 2 objects of metal netting that we can place it between, and a source of constant heat. Collect for me these items, and we will see what we shall see.
I should look for the items Monsieur Poirot needs to read the burnt scrap of paper.